Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Detonate dead and not be stopped. It's back and even stronger in PoE 2 than it is in PoE 1. Single target is super high. I've only put about 5 divines of damage gear into the build, and the rest of it is just gear I scrapped off my previous character, and it already does 1 million damage per hit. I think with a bit more investment, it's just gonna do stupid damage. Probably able to get it to literally one-shot pinnacle bosses with enough investment. The downside is the map clear is pretty bad. It's not that bad. You just explode everything on screen with your Detonate dead, but you don't go very fast while doing that. I might look into a secondary clearing setup that allows the build to zoom a bit more in maps, then swap the DD mainly for single target. Have a question? 99% of the time people ask me questions in stream chat, it's answered in the guide. Please use Control F and type in the keyword of whatever question you have, please God, in the guide. On the defensive side of the build, it is very tanky in maps, pretty easily reaching a 10k combined HP pool and getting a damage staggering effect from Grasping Wounds. In true Detonate Dead fashion, the build is super easy to gear. You'll be able to clear tier 15 maps on a 20 exalt gear budget at like level 75 if you have spent your exalts wisely and you haven't messed anything up. Now, a warning, this build is not for everyone. It can be super clunky at times. Once you're used to it, it gets okay, but it feels really bad to start before you're used to it. At least it did for me when I just switched off of it. Buttery smooth lightning crossbow build. Why it's clunky. You are relying on minions to explode for damage. You're kind of at their will, and sometimes they get stuck or die, and then you have to wait for them to respawn. Some maps have too narrow of a map for them to move through, which is annoying. Like if the path is too narrow, your skeletons can't fit through it sometimes. If you run too far from the minions, they'll die and go on cooldown. If you shield charge and you're offhand to try and move faster, and one minion is dead, they all tend to go on cooldown. So you can't really use a movement skill nicely unless you fit blink, but then you're kind of cutting into your spirit, which is pretty tight, and then you go too far from your minions anyways and they die. You have to specifically target skeleton brutes for damage. Minions can all end up dead in boss fights and you're stuck waiting for them to respawn. For these reasons, I don't really recommend this build to new players unless the ideal / playstyle of the build seems extra fun to you. Leveling for the build. You could go minions or SRS or something, summon Raging Spirit, if you have no leveling gear. If you do have leveling gear, you can go Widow Hail and get a decently rolled Widow Hail and a big DPS quiver, and then you can go Lightning Arrow and Lightning Rod into Gas Arrow. That's what I did to level. I will probably make a leveling guide soon, talking about that a bit. Probably tomorrow. The Venom drafts you choose are Elemental, Ailment Threshold, and Chaos Resistance. So, where does the damage actually come from? Well, Detonate Dead has a stat on it that says it deals physical damage equal to 20% of the corpse's max life. Thus, we use the minion with the biggest HP in the game, which is Skeletal Brute as far as I know. This is the majority of the damage. The fire damage on the gem is negligible. This is a physical damage build. Sort of. There are 2 more skills that are so broken we just throw them in the build, despite the build not really synergizing super well with them. These 2 skills are the Archmage Aura and Mana Tempest buff. They provide massive amounts of extra lightning damage based off the damage we deal, and with a few pieces of gear having mana, not really even planning around it much, I really just threw it on. They provide massive amounts of extra lightning damage. Archmage can easily give 80% extra damage with lightning. This is just broken. Like, you don't even really have to think about it. On top of this, Mana Tempest can give up to 78% extra damage as lightning. The caveat with that is you have to actually stand in the little storm it creates. With our huge fizz number, it's kind of a no-brainer to just chuck these in. I expect Archmage and Mana Tempest will get nerfed after the holidays when GG gets back, because honestly, number-wise, they're just absolutely ridiculous, with Archmage being the way bigger offender. However, even if they are nerfed, DD will still function fine without them. Getting decent damage, I was not using Archmage at the start. And I just threw it in the test because, you know, it seems OP, and of course, it was OP. Your gear. Your 2 most important pieces of gear are your weapons. For your wand, use a unique called Enazun's Charge that gives 25% chance to not destroy corpses when you detonate them. With this, we can get the chance to not destroy corpses up to around 80%. Your other weapon, the Scepter, is what the build uses to get most of its spirit. It is also a good source of plus minion levels. Most other gear is just getting life and res. I've included a full breakdown of gear with mod priority and other useful information in the written guide in the description. Alright, gems. Pay attention to this. The guide site only lets me put 1 Detonate Dead setup in the skill gems. This is the clearing setup. You will use these support gems for clearing. Like in maps. When you're doing a boss in like a boss invitation like the Fire Arbiter guy or Breach Lord or whatever, you will swap to these that I have written here. Conk Effect, Consider Casting, Minion Pact, Spell Echo, Corpse Conservation, or Inevitable Crit. I may update these over time. I tend to update the written guides as I play, so make sure you always keep a close eye on that. And you can see at the top when it was last updated. But as it is right now, it's very solid. Remember, for gems and gear, this game is not static. If you feel like you want to make a swap, feel free to experiment with it and see if it makes your character feel better. You will not brick the build unless you do something crazy, like swap out a core gem like Skeletal Brute. Alright, the passive tree. Stay away from energy shield nodes until you actually have decent energy shield on your gear. If you have no energy shield on your gear, these are just wasted nodes essentially. They're not really scaling anything because it's a percentage, right? Make sure you grab the main minion life nodes. Well, not those ones. But like these ones, the big ones basically, right? Don't really need to path out and grab the tiny ones until the end when you're looking for more nodes to click. And then revive nodes, like this one, and these 2 small ones, and here, makes the build feel a lot less clunky. So when your minions do die inevitably, they respawn faster. And you can get back into the fight even sooner. For the Ascendancy nodes, you're going to go, obviously this one first. And then you're going to go down the left side of the heart. And then you're going to take Grasping Wounds. I am theorizing on bosses that I will have so much damage. I'm kind of already at this point where I have so much damage that I just want more damage because I will kill them before they can even hit me. I probably need about 2 divines more worth of gear upgrades before I can just like kill a boss pretty much before they hit me. If you have any questions, check the written guide. If that doesn't answer your question, feel free to ask in my stream. Or feel free to ask in my stream and not read the guide, because nobody does anyways. And I'm fine with an extra viewer. There's no way you're still trying to play the crossbow build on click the move with how fucked up it is. That shit was unplayable when I tested it for 30 seconds. There's no way you're still trying to play it on click. I don't know, play a different build or don't use Waz. That shit was awful. I'm to be a geoguesser, man. Or go muffin. Hey, thanks for the gift subs. 52? Can't read your name, sorry. Yeah, it's time for the GeoGuessr arc. And this minute Alva? Yeah, time to gamble. You will win. Nope, you can't change it. Yeah, there's secondary bar. Yeah, it's control, but you can rebind it. Whatever. Control's a little rough. Just hitting there. Okay, that is pretty good for some like 5C gear. It's pretty good for damage on like a 5C weapon. I mean, classic Detonate dead, I guess.